picture this. The year is 2026.
Right.
Artificial intelligence is, well, literally everywhere. I mean, it's writing your company's code, generating marketing materials, scheduling your entire life.
Basically running things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And yet, if you walk into the executive suites of the biggest enterprises right now, there is this massive, palpable panic in the labor market.
Oh, absolutely. It's a huge issue.
And we're going to dive into exactly why that is and, how you can position yourself to actually take advantage of it. But really quickly, before we jump into today's deep dive, I want to mention that this exploration is brought to you by AI Opportune.
Yeah, they're great.
They really are. Look, if you're trying to navigate this constantly shifting AI landscape, AI Opportune is exactly what you need. They provide just incredible resources and insights to help you stay ahead of the curve.
Highly recommend them.
Same. I highly encourage you to subscribe to AI Opportune. It's an absolute game changer if you're looking to future-proof your skills right now.
And future-proofing is, it's exactly what we're talking about today.
Right. Which brings us to our mission for today's deep dive. We got our hands on this fascinating document. It's titled Future-Proofing the Builder, Inside Google's free 10-course AI stack.
It's a gold mine.
It really is. So you're going to deconstruct exactly what this 10-course stack actually is, why Google is just giving it away for free, and how you, the listener, can use it to significantly boost your career value in 2026.
Because it's it's a fascinating paradox we're living in right now. We have more access to advanced tech than at any point in history, but the corporate anxiety around actually deploying it's at an all-time high.
Okay, let's unpack this, because the numbers in this source document are just wild to me.
They're pretty staggering, yeah.
It states that currently, 82% of enterprises are offering some form of AI training.
Right.
Which sounds like a massive success story. But in the exact same breath, 59% of leaders report a persistent applied AI skills gap.
Yeah, and that phrase, that applied AI part, is doing a lot of heavy lifting there.
What do you mean?
Well, it highlights this massive shift in the hiring environment toward a skills over credentials model. Like, simply having an AI-certified badge on your LinkedIn doesn't mean much anymore. Not if you can't actually build anything functional.
So it sounds like 82% of companies are handing out keys to race cars, but 59% of the drivers don't even know how an engine works.
That is a highly accurate way to look at it.
Like, we're all passengers, but the market desperately needs mechanics.
Exactly. And the data shows that 72% of enterprise leaders view foundational AI literacy as absolutely essential now. And the financial stakes are massive.
How massive are we talking?
Well, organizations that build mature upskilling programs, the ones that actually teach people to be those mechanics, they're seeing a 42% higher ROI on their AI investment.
Wow. A 42% bump.
Yeah, it's a competitive advantage that boards of directors just cannot ignore anymore.
So the difference is really about teaching people how to use the Lego bricks of these systems, rather than just teaching them how to type a prompt into a chat window.
Precisely. You have to understand the fundamental laws of physics underlying the models.
The source mentions moving people from casual users to builders of agentic AI. And I hear that word agentic thrown around constantly. What does that actually mean mechanically?
So a standard AI model, it waits for you to type a prompt, it gives you an answer, and it stops.
Right. It's totally reactive.
Exactly. But an agentic AI system is given a broader goal, and it autonomously breaks that goal down into subtasks.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, it might query a database, write a piece of code to analyze that data, evaluate its own code for errors, fix it, and then deliver the final summarized result to you.
It's doing all of that on its own.
Right, it operates in autonomous loops, but to build a system like that, you really have to understand those foundations.
Which brings us to the first tier of Google Stack, foundations. We know generative AI is about probabilistic creation, not just sorting existing data. But how do we actually control it?
Well, that's where the curriculum dives heavily into prompt design. But it explicitly notes we're moving way beyond simple chatting.
Yeah, the document introduces mechanisms like prompt chaining and few-shot prompting. How do those actually work in practice?
Think of a large language model as this vast, chaotic ocean of mathematical probability.
Okay.
When you give it a complex task all at once, it can easily drift off course. So few-shot prompting acts sort of like a lighthouse.
A lighthouse. How so?
You're programming the prompt with a few highly specific, carefully calibrated examples of the exact formatting and logic you want. It anchors the model's math to your desired output.
So you're basically showing it the destination before it starts swimming.
Exactly.
And what about prompt chaining?
Chaining is breaking a massive task into a sequence of smaller, discrete nodes. Instead of asking for a whole financial report in one prompt, you build a chain.
Like a step-by-step process.
Yeah. Prompt A extracts the quarterly numbers. The output of prompt A automatically becomes the input for prompt B, which formats those numbers. And then the output of B goes into prompt C, which writes the summary.
Oh, wow. So by isolating the tasks, you drastically reduce the chance of the model just getting totally confused.
Exactly. It's essential for production reliability.
That makes a ton of sense.
Yeah.
Now, staying in this foundational tier, I do want to push back on one of the modules a bit.
Sure, go for it.
It covers responsible AI and governance. And I'll be honest, I hear corporate governance and my eyes immediately glaze over.
A lot of people feel that way.
Is ethics as a service just a corporate buzzword to make investors feel safe? Or is this an actual, tangible skill you can be hired for?
Oh, it's very tangible. It is hardcore risk management, and it is highly lucrative.
Rude.
Absolutely. Global regulations around AI have tightened dramatically by 2026. If you deploy an autonomous agent that accidentally leaks proprietary company data
Oh, right.
or hallucinates a critical math error in a client-facing financial summary, the company isn't just embarrassed. They're facing massive fines.
So compliance violations and legal action.
Exactly. It's a top 3 hiring priority, explicitly listed in our source material. If you know how to build the compliance layers that prevent a model from going off the rails, you are directly protecting the bottom line.
Okay, fair enough. You're the safety inspector designing the guardrails for the race car.
That's a great way to put it.
So here's where it gets really interesting for me. Once we have the foundations and those guardrails in place, the curriculum lifts the hood and moves into the architecture tier.
The infrastructure layer.
Yeah, right. And it starts by tackling the biggest problem with AI, the hallucinations we just mentioned. It introduces retrieval augmented generation, or RA frameworks.
RAG is arguably the single most important architectural concept for enterprise AI right now.
Really? Why is that?
Because by default, an LLM is frozen in time. It only knows what it was trained on up to a certain date.
So it doesn't know my company's current HR policies.
Well, what's sitting in your warehouse today? If you ask it a specific internal question, it will just mathematically guess a plausible-sounding answer.
It hallucinates.
Exactly. But with RAG, you're essentially giving the AI an open book test instead of a closed book test.
Oh, I love that analogy. So mechanically, how does that work?
Before the model generates its answer, a retrieval system intercepts your prompt. It dives into a verified external database, like your secure internal servers,
Okay.
pulls the factual, up-to-date documents, and then augments your prompt by pasting that factual data directly into the model's context window.
Oh, wow. So the AI is then instructed to generate its answer based only on the retrieved data.
Exactly. It grounds the probabilistic engine in your specific reality.
So RH hands her the text data and stops the lying. But what happens when a company needs visual assets? That requires a totally different architecture, which the course covers under image generation and diffusion models.
Right.
Let's break down that word diffusion. How does an AI actually draw something?
It's totally counterintuitive to how humans draw. Think of diffusion like a digital sculptor who works with static.
Static, like on a TV.
Yeah. When you prompt a diffusion model, it doesn't start with a blank canvas. It starts with a frame of pure random pixel noise.
Just a screen of fuzz.
Yes.
Right.
And during its training, the model learned how images decay into static. So when generating a new image, it just reverses that mathematical process.
That's wild.
It looks at the static and calculates, pixel by pixel, what to chip away to reveal the image hidden inside the noise. It diffuses the static step by step until a high-resolution image emerges.
Okay, that sculptor analogy is perfect. Understanding that math really allows builders to create custom workflows for marketing teams.
Way beyond basic prompting, yeah.
But moving deeper into the architecture, we hit encoder-decoder models. The source calls this the engine for cross-lingual agents.
This is where the math gets really beautiful.
I'll be honest, my eyes cross a bit at the math here. Like, if an AI agent is listening to a customer service call in Japanese, summarizing the action items, and then querying a database in Spanish, what's actually happening in the middle?
Right.
It can't just be giant dictionary lookup, right?
It's definitely not a dictionary. Think of it less as translation and more like a massive compression algorithm.
Compression.
Yeah. The encoder takes the Japanese input and compresses it into a universal mathematical representation of the meaning and the intent. This is often called the latent space.
So it strips away the specific language entirely.
Exactly. It leaves only a constellation of numbers representing the concept.
It turns the Japanese sentence into pure math.
And then the decoder takes that that universal concept and mathematically reconstructs it into Spanish.
Wow.
Because they're operating through that central mathematical concept, these architectures can seamlessly bridge completely different modalities.
Which brings up the next massive breakthrough the curriculum covers. Transformers and the attention mechanism.
Oh, this is a big one.
The document calls this the absolute core of modern natural language processing. Let me see if I have the mechanics of this right.
Go for it.
Early AI models processed text sequentially, right? Like reading a book word by word. And they would literally forget the beginning of a long sentence by the time they reached the end.
They suffered from catastrophic forgetting, yeah.
So instead of an AI trying to hold every single word in its memory with equal weight, the attention mechanism acts like a student studying for an exam.
Okay, I like where this is going.
The student highlights only the crucial plot points, the names of the main characters, and the pivotal verbs. That way, the AI learns what to pay attention to and doesn't lose the thread during a massive 500-page document analysis.
What's fascinating here is your analogy captures the outcome perfectly, but the actual mechanism making that happen is even more interesting.
Really? How does it actually work?
The attention mechanism allows the model to process the entire document in parallel, rather than sequentially.
All at once.
Yeah. When it looks at a single word, it simultaneously calculates a mathematical weight or relevance score between that word and every other word in the entire text.
Regardless of how far apart they are on the page.
Exactly. It's building a web of context all at once.
That is incredible.
It is the exact reason why complex, long-form 2026 enterprise assistants are actually functional and reliable instead of just producing gibberish after 3 paragraphs.
It's the difference between merely hearing a long story and actively analyzing it.
Spot on.
And when you combine that deep linguistic understanding with the visual architecture we talked about earlier, you get the final piece of the technical stack. Image captioning models.
Multimodal systems, yeah.
The source highlights this as the bridge between vision and language.
This is so crucial for the 2026 creator economy and for accessibility tech.
How so?
Because an AI agent doesn't just see an image, it mathematically decodes the pixels and then uses that language processing power to describe the context of what's happening.
So it can auto-tag millions of media assets instantly.
Instantly, based on nuanced context. Or provide rich, dynamic descriptions of visual interfaces for visually impaired users. Text, vision, and logic are just interacting seamlessly.
It's amazing. So what does this all mean for the listener? I mean, learning the architecture is incredible.
Right.
We know how the engine works, how the transmission connects, how the guardrails function. But how do you actually apply this to get hired?
That is the big question.
And honestly, the biggest question I have,
Yeah.
why is Google footing the bill for this massive, highly technical education?
Well, that brings us to the final tier of the stack. Deployment and strategy. It's really where theory meets practice.
Okay.
The capstone of this curriculum is built around Generative AI Studio, which is a Google Cloud tool.
The source material positions this as a hands-on lab, right?
It is. But the key here is that it offers zero-code and low-code interfaces.
So you don't need a PhD in computer science.
Not at all.
Ah.
Or advanced Python skills. You can visually construct the logic flows to rapidly prototype and deploy these complex models we just discussed.
And this document has a very specific warning about your career strategy. It explicitly says, don't collection hop.
Yes, I love that phrasing.
Don't just take a random course here and there to collect digital badges for your resume. You need to pick a lane.
You really do.
And it gives us 3 distinct career paths with the estimated 2026 salary premiums. Let's break those down.
Sure. The first path is the AI product builder.
Okay.
If you focus on generative AI foundations, prompt design, and mastering that low-code AI studio, the market is paying a 25% to 40% premium on your salary.
Because you are the fast iterator. You can sit in a meeting, hear a business problem, and have a functional prototype built by the afternoon using those visual tools.
Exactly. Then if you want to go deeper into the underlying math, focusing on large language models, transformers, and setting up those complex RAG frameworks.
That's the heavy lifting.
Right. You're targeting the AI engineer role.
And the premium there is staggering, a 56% to 70% salary bump.
You're the senior mechanic making the tools reliable at an enterprise scale.
Wow. And the third path.
That's the AI strategist, which nets a solid 20% premium. That path focuses heavily on the foundations and the governance frameworks we discussed earlier.
Ah, the risk management.
Yep. That's the person defining the deployment strategy and ensuring the company doesn't run afoul of tightening legal regulations. Are you building the app, designing the underlying engine, or managing the risk? You just have to choose your role.
But I keep coming back to this ultimate so what question.
Let's hear it.
This curriculum bridges a reported 23% gap in HR training needs. That is a massive pain point for Fortune 500 companies right now.
Huge.
And Google is not running a charity. They are giving away the keys to the kingdom, a 10-course, highly technical stack for free. What is their endgame?
If we connect the dots in the source material, it spells it out pretty clearly. Google is transitioning from being primarily a search and advertising company
To what?
to being the dominant AI infrastructure provider for the globe.
Oh, I see where this is going.
Think about the deployment tools being taught. These courses map directly to Vertex AI.
Right.
And what does our source tell us about Vertex AI? It is the platform already used by 80% of Fortune 500 companies for their enterprise AI deployment.
Oh, wow. So by offering this world-class training for free, Google is aggressively ensuring that the next generation of builders, engineers, and strategists are completely Google native.
It is a massive, incredibly smart ecosystem play.
Yeah, it is.
When you learn how to do prompt chaining, you are learning how to do it specifically on Vertex AI. When you learn rapid prototyping, you're learning it on Generative AI Studio.
So they're giving away the education so that when you get hired to solve that 59% skills gap at a major corporation, you naturally just reach for Google's tools.
Exactly.
It's brilliant. They aren't just selling the race cars. They're building the only mechanic schools in town and training everyone to use their specific brand of wrenches.
Yep. And because 80% of the Fortune 500 are already driving their cars, the students are practically guaranteed jobs when they graduate.
It creates this self-sustaining loop of adoption and expertise.
You're solving the labor panic while simultaneously locking in your market share for the next decade.
Wow. So to bring this all together for you listening, surviving and thriving in the 2026 labor market isn't about running around collecting random certification badges.
Not at all.
It's about choosing a specific path, whether you want to be a builder, an engineer, or a strategist. It's about understanding the underlying Lego bricks of how attention mechanisms process data, how diffusion models construct images, and how retrieval frameworks keep models grounded.
It is really about moving from being a passive consumer of technology to an active architect of it. The gap in the market isn't for people who know how to chat. It's for people who know how to build.
And the wildest part is that the blueprints, the tools, and the training are right there. They are sitting on the table completely for free, waiting for you to start building. You just have to decide to pick them up.
This raises an important final thought, actually something I really want to leave you with to mull over today.
That's that.
We've seen the massive salary premiums and the 42% higher return on investment for companies that embrace this architecture. If foundational AI knowledge is rapidly becoming the new baseline literacy for the modern workforce, much like knowing how to read or how to use the internet, what happens to the professionals and the companies who flatly refuse to learn the alphabet?
That is the exact question you need to be asking yourself right now. Are you going to be the passenger hoping the car doesn't crash, or are you going to be the mechanic who knows exactly how the engine works? Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. We'll catch you next time. Keep exploring.